Troy is such a complex topic because we do not have concrete information on it like we do with other city-states such as Athens or Sparta. We only have information from the excavations that occurred only, relatively recently. The mystery of Troy has intrigued and fascinated people throughout the centuries. The Trojans were also known as the Teucrians, the Ilians, and the Dardanians.
Most of what we know about Troy comes from the epic cycle and excerpts from other ancient cultures. The history of Troy is divided into 9 levels. 9 levels. The first level was built in 3000 BC. 3000 BC. They had a bunch of walls made out of small stones and clay.
Troy too was essentially a prehistoric fortress with a palace and some houses. The next 3 consecutive Troys, 3, 4 and 5, were built on top of the remnants of Troy II and consisted mainly of an assembly of villages. They lasted a mere 3 centuries before following the pattern of the preceding Troys and mysteriously disappearing, presumably in a fiery conflagration. Or perhaps an earthquake.
Troy 6 was from about 1900 to 1300 BC. It had huge walls and a fortress. It's probably destroyed by an earthquake.
Troy 7 was probably the closest to Homer's vision of Troy. It was a walled city with about 9-meter tall towers, and the area was around 200,000 square meters. Its population was around 5 to 10,000, which at the time was a lot of people, so it goes to show that Troy was an important city at the time, and it was believed to be destroyed by a war. However, there are traces of a fire. Troy 8, which lasted from about 1100 BC to approximately the 1st century BC, has yielded a plethora of information. There has also been found evidence of fires, which may have been the source of devastation of Troy 8.
According to legend, this great king Laomedon, with help of Apollo and Poseidon, built these huge walls around Troy. But then he didn't give them their reward, and so he has had this giant sea monster to destroy them, which then Hercules killed. But then once again, he didn't give Hercules his reward, so Hercules sacked the town of Troy. And that became known as the first sack of Troy. He killed all except for Laomedon's son Priam, who became the next king.
Priam ruled for the next 3 generations and brought Troy back to power. One theory is that the Trojans were able to speak Greek, because in Greek legend they showed no difficulty in understanding Greek talk. Personally, I believe in the Etruscan theory. This was developed by Herodotus, who believed that the Etruscans were a group of people who had left Asia Minor due to a series of famines, and he believed that the Trojans spoke the same language as these Etruscans.
I would prefer the Luwian theory because there was a seal inscribed with Luwian found in Troy.
Troy is commonly believed to be a monarchy.
There are very few artistic remains found in Troy, but it was probably very similar to the Messenian art. The location where we believe Troy is protected by UNESCO.
The Trojans relied on an economy that centered around the export of presumably horses, textiles, and most importantly, pottery. They exported bales of wool extracted from the sheep that they herded, for Troy was actually a sheep town. They also had many refined garments made from these sheep, which they also exported.